Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to Brownlow Books. This is the second time I'm filming this. I filmed it. I uploaded it to YouTube. It failed to upload. I failed to notice that before I deleted it from my phone to make room for other videos. So here I am, doing it again. I don't remember what I said the first time. I have a loose collection of notes. I make my videos from that. Let's see how this goes. I can't believe I did something so monumentally stupid. Like, I would cry. I was like, I'm not gonna cry. I could cry, but I'll laugh instead. Because, like, it's just such a ridiculous thing to happen to me. Whew. Okay, so... I read The Ballad of Laurel Springs by Janet Beard. I need to stop giggling. Oh my god. Okay. I read The Ballad of Laurel Springs by Janet Beard. You may recognize her as writing, I believe it was called Atomic Girls? No, I don't think it was Atomic. I think it was Atomic Girls. It was like a thing. There's like 23,000 ratings for it on Goodreads. Like, it's popular. This one only has 950, and I'm like, this came out in like 2021, I think it was. I was like, that's weird. That's weird. But I will get into why I think that happens. So, first of all, this is a multi-generational historical fiction. Its style is not going to be for everyone. It goes from like current Grace in 2019, who's like 10 years old doing a school project, like family historical kind of thing. Each chapter is like a new girl in the family. So you get them for like the chapter, and it's not that big, so they're pretty short chapters. You get that girl and you go through and you follow her for like a little snippet of her life. Sometimes it's like a year, sometimes it's like 20 years. And you just kind of jump forward in the chapter. So that style is not going to be for everyone. It is, multi POV, and there's a lot of people who don't even like, two POVs. So take from that what you will. Additionally, if you are looking for a happy ending, you will not find it in this book. I am a big supporter of the unhappy ending. I enjoyed this book well enough. And it did catch me off guard at first with the multi POV. I'm used to like a multi POV. It doesn't bother me. I kind of like it. If this was your first historical fiction, or like you're really new to the genre and still kind of learning what you do and don't like about it, I don't recommend reading this off the bat because of the POV of it. So there's that. It does go from 1891 to, as I said, 2019. It's a lot. It follows, like I said, several generations of women in this one family. They're in the Appalachians, Eastern Tennessee. I forget what's the park. Great Smoky Mountains? Is that a national park? So they live in like this fictional town that's like supposed to be at the edge of this, national park they're creating. You kind of get the impression that that's what it's supposed to be, and where it's supposed to be. In terms of an overarching plot, there isn't one. There isn't one. It doesn't have an overarching plot per se. It has more of like a theme. Like, it almost reads like individual short stories about these women that we have met from the previous woman, but is now like a different age. It's hard to explain because sometimes it's a big jump and sometimes it's not, but it's basically mostly mothers. It goes back. So it reads more like a bunch of short stories that are interconnected of being from the same family in the same place. And so there's not an overarching plot, there is an overarching theme, and that theme is kind of... It's kind of how the women of this family are haunted by their own poor choices, and how those choices usually result in the violence of men towards them. Yeah, I said no happy endings. Everyone in this book is dead. That's not entirely true. But yeah, it's very much more of a theme of like how people don't really change. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, like the town around them, they're always in the same place. Like we're following them. The town is changing. The town goes from this like little outpost in the fucking woods to being this place with like amusement parks and mini golf and on the edge of this big national park, and there's hotels everywhere, and like the town grows. People don't change. People don't change, and trauma is very much generational. That's inherited. You inherit that shit, alright? Very much that. And unlike the fiction that us millennials have been making, there are no apologies. So, yeah. A criticism of it, I would have found a family tree very helpful. You know, you meet this person, you're meeting the family around them, and then you move on to that person's daughter, and that person's daughter is now talking about their sister and their parents, and now their kids. And it kind of goes on. So, like, you get these little clumps of family. But it would have been nice to, like, be able to see visually how these people connect. Because, like, I'll show you the contents page. So it does go from woman to woman to woman. So, like, we start with Grace. And then we're going to Pearl, Grace's great-great-great-great-grandmother. I'm not sure the time actually works out on that. When you're like looking at like the generations of women, I'm like, I think you're in the wrong time frame of 1907. It's not impossible. It just feels a little not quite right. But then like our third chapter is Miriam, Pearl's daughter-in-law. And 1925, and we go on to Frida, Miriam's stepdaughter in 1937. So, like, it progresses through a lot of different time frames and a lot of different women and, you know, the family around them. And they're not necessarily, like I said, that was stepdaughter, right? So, like, the way it kind of works isn't always direct, which wraps up the book really nicely, but not happily. I guess some people might see it as happy. I don't think it's happy. No. Nah. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't mind a multi-POV. I often have no problems with reading about women's trauma, which says a lot about me, I think, and the fact that, you know, I've been subjecting to myself to that shit for a really, really long time, and now I'm maybe cold. Shit. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of different time frames to go through. You get a little bit of everything. Like I said, 1891 to now. I have to bring up one review that I saw on Goodreads in particular. It was talking about Grace, the first chapter. And she wrote a, like, what happened interesting in our family, and, like, her aunt tells her, like, you know, our great-great-grandfather killed someone. And she's like, whoa, and there's, like, oh yeah, and they wrote a ballad about it, because, like, this is big on ballads. Okay, I'll get to that. Big on ballads. And so there's, like, oh, it's about our family, and, like, she finds out it's probably not about our family, but she finds out the whole story of, like, not the whole story, but, like, finds out that, yeah, her great-great-great-great-grandpappy killed someone. At Laurel Springs. So, she doesn't understand why all the adults are freaking out about this. And in this review I saw, this person's like, I don't understand why they don't just tell her it happened 100 years ago. What's their fucking problem about it? And I was like, the problem is directly in Grace's chapter where she hears her parents saying, that only happened 7 years ago. Why would you tell her about it? Because she's 10. that only happened like 7-8 years ago. Like, we don't want to tell her about it. Like, she's not old enough. Like, the parents are freaking out. And I'm like, how does this reviewer think that what the parents are freaking out about is what happened 100 years ago, when you literally know from like the second to last chapter what the fuck happened 7 years ago? Why do you think they're freaking out about the 100 years ago, not the fucking 7 years ago thing that happened, which was like fucking ripped from the headlines horrific, okay? I was so confused by this person's like review. I was like, I don't think bitch read the book. I don't think she read the book. Cause like, nah. You fucking know. You fucking know why her mom is and her dad are fucking freaking out about the fact that she's writing about a murderer in the family. So yeah, that's my spoiler-free way of really fucking hating that person who left that review. Read the fucking book or don't review it, okay? Don't review it if you haven't read it. Like, that's perfectly logical option. Made me so angry. So, on the topic of Goodreads still, no, not Goodreads, going back to the ballads. If you're a fan of like the murder ballad, you might not necessarily be a fan of this book. It's called The Ballad of Laurel Springs, but like it is literally the same ballad all throughout, and you don't know the origin of this ballad. This ballad just gets applied to this family. Like, it existed before them and it'll exist after them, kind of thing. So there's that. Goodreads. As I said, it only has 950 ratings on it, which is just not a lot. Especially compared to, like, her other book, which has, 5 digits worth of ratings. So, why? I think, well, one, this ugly ass fucking cover. I saw a second cover in the editions on Goodreads and I was just like, that's a fucking beautiful cover. Wish I had that one. It was like very bright and vibrant. It was like a sunset or sunrise, I don't know, over like mountain peaks and like the forest. And I was just like, that is fucking beautiful. Wish I had that cover. Nah, I got this. So there's that. You will like this, perhaps, if you like multi-generational POVs. If you like things that are Appalachian, Eastern Tennessee, I think you could like that. If you like women-focused stories, but like I said, it is quite horrific at times, so with that. If you like family secrets, if you're like big into like the books that are like, there's a family secret, you'll like this. You'll like this a lot, I think. What's just happened? Like I said, 950 ratings on Goodreads, not a lot. It works out to 3.54 stars. Which I feel is kind of low, but again, I feel like it's people maybe misunderstanding this, not liking the format. I liked it. I do recommend it. I actually rated it 4 stars because I was like, I need this to have a higher rating than it does, and my one little one is definitely gonna make all the difference, right? So yes, I like it. I do recommend if you're into historical fiction, if you don't mind covering, multiple timelines with multiple time frames. I like it. I think, who else could I say might like this? If you like horrific things happening to women, get the fuck out of here. All right. I think that's all I'm going to say about that, to be honest. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you around next time, and just don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to find me again. See you next time.